because part of my culture is to say part of the answer could actually be public service media. You will see many projects supported by UNESCO, by CEDA, by others, who are basically trying to push government media into a more public service oriented field. And I have been involved, as I told you, I've been involved in that in Myanmar and in Laos, and to a certain extent also Vietnam. And this is what your heads are being filled with now during these 3 weeks. We're preaching public service media, and I'm not saying that you can go home and do the same thing, but in my view, public service media can do something that other media cannot do. If you compare the US media scene to the European media scenes, don't quote me on this, but most of the American media are shit.
True.
It's shit. And with Fox News as the worst piece of where you can actually. Do any of you listen to any or watch any international channels? CNN, Al Jazeera, BBC. BBC still.
BBC, CNN.
CNN.
Channel BBC.
Yeah.
BBC and CNN.
Yeah. What about RT, the Russian?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice.
So Russian stations.
I'm not sure about CNN. Sometimes, yeah, of course, with big week, I will scan through all of the channel to see what's different viewpoints. But somehow with the US, I was always okay, and still be reluctant. It's nice to know okay, what's the view? Because the role of just media is monitoring, so I get all of the views to see what they report.
I think we have time for a little experiment here. I'll just pause this for a second, and then I will see. What I'm trying to find is yeah, this one. Oh. I need to be online. Just a second. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but let me try.
Trong một cái code của chị rồi, cái code này như
Wi-Fi á? Chị không biết lắp về đâu rồi.
Oops.
Beef? Dry beef? Beef?
Lemon.
Lemon.
Lemon flake.
Okay, I don't know if
Lemon. Neem.
yeah. Well, this is not working immediately, so are we having a coffee break? Then we can get the ice guy after that. Or that's a coffee break. So I'll go back to the presentation. I just got tempted. So now this is a picture from the last time we had parliamentary elections. And part of what the public service obligation is to give voice to all parties. So that is part that when there's an election going on. I'm sorry, I have some problem with the temperature here. Then all parties are given equal access to the public service media. Meaning that even if you're from a small party, you will stand next to the Prime Minister. And that you will have the same amount of speaking time as the Prime Minister. Then there will be other programs where it's basically the two Prime Minister candidates, just in a duel.
Debate.
Yeah, but in principle, the public service media give voices to all. But not only that, because the voice to all is not just about politics, it's also about ethnic groups, cultural groups. And so this is when we were discussing last week the ethical guidelines from MRTV. It says we are trying to be catering for all, universality of content. That means that also if you live in Vietnam and you're part of the Black Hmong minority, you will find programs in your own language. How is it, by the way, in Bangladesh with language diversity?
We have a Bangla language. Most of the more than 92% people are speaking Bangla.
Okay.
But we have 37 ethnic group.
Okay.
They have their own language. But in Bangla, different dialogue in some area.
Okay. But then universality is again giving people something in their own language and about their own culture. That's part of it. Now we'll just go back to this. Remember this one? Yes. Now I put the state media in this one. It's maybe a big word for propaganda, but that is your job when you are in a government-run media. It is your job to be an arm of government. It's as simple as that. But that doesn't mean, and now this is really important here, it doesn't mean that you only have to be the arm of the government. You are both ways, because people in government cannot rule in an efficient and good way unless they know what's going on in society. They cannot know what it was. And that's why being close to people, being local in what you do, is so important. Also, if you are in this kind of a media organization. And in this kind of a media organization, you can also strive to have balance, credibility, and independence of particular persons. That can be an ambition. Or what? When I say this, what do you think? Those of you who are in government media, can you promote this kind of backgrounds? You're in a government.
Yeah. We can promote this kind of public service. But as you mentioned before, that we are arms of the government.
Yeah.
But we still can do something, just a small change. But yeah, we can do that.
Any others? No, I know this is a bit touchy, but I'm also saying this, when you're in a commercial media, you can also try to work along these lines. So it's not all just when you're in this box, you're in that box.
Yeah.
You can do things in the boxes. And I really think that if you cannot go and change the world, then you can at least go and change how your little part of the media world is operating. That is in your power. Oh, yeah.
I think we can mix both up. You know, one media organization can use this all of these three categories,
Yeah.
but we have to set the appropriate proportion.
Yeah.
Like how much you're gonna go commercial, how much you're gonna do
Yeah.
propaganda or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have a question for
Yeah.
the commercial. If they want to transform to be some as the public service, they should be the fund or budget from the state, because from the sponsor would influence on the article, their advertising.
Yeah. Yes, that was also what we talked about. Yes, should we in Kalmar, should we have a tax on Google and Facebook? Should we try to get some money from those places or from the state budget to give to these independent media? The question is, of course, who should give out the money? I'm very wise. I'm extremely wise, so let me do it. One for you, one for you, one for me, one for you, one for you, one for me, one for you, one for you, one for me. That is what could happen. So what they have done here, going back to these 65 million US dollars given to Danish media, is that there are some strict criteria that I don't know all of them in detail, but you have to have a certain number of people, you have to have a certain number of certain universality, and for example, some of the free papers which have been distributed free to all households, they are not getting this support. And they have complained to the EU High Court. I don't know, it's still running that case. So you will not find a system where it's easy to say, okay, this is a good media, we'll give support. But I think it's possible. And actually, it's what's happening here today, and I'll show you in just a second. How are we doing for time, Eva?
And I sent you this question, we'll have a coffee break at 11:15.
That's about,
5 minutes.
so,
I have a question.
yeah.
So let's say the regarding with commercial media, there's so many rivals for them, competitor in the industry. So they have to try to be good, yeah,
Yeah.
to cancel their product. But in terms of the public service media, but I do not much about in other countries like in UK, the BBC, or in Germany, Deutsche Welle, something like that. Yeah. In Myanmar, who do you think can be the monitor? Who do you think who can take the monitor role to check the public service media? I'm not talking about the MRTV. Maybe we can have others, the public service media, to check the quality of the public service media. Yeah? They are going to take money from government or public or whatever. Yeah? So who is going to monitor them, their quality? They are going to work properly or not? Yeah?
Well, I can tell you how it works here. It works here the way that. Let me get back to it in a little while, because then we can get a bit more specific. And if I don't answer your question, you put it again.
Okay, I will.
So here in Denmark we have like 3 major public service organizations. We have the old DR, which is the first one. And during the 70s and the 80s, there was a growing discontent among right-wing politicians saying this was a socialist organization, and they were just promoting values which are not in line with the ordinary people, and so on. So there was a lot of dissatisfaction from certain politicians. So they said, we need an alternative. We need an alternative. And then by law they created TV2. And saying that TV2 could, because this is financed only by license fees. No commercials at all allowed. This was given the right to advertise, so it was seen as more or less free. But they're also getting some license fee money. Now, then, so we have the two big TV stations or media stations. DR is running not only TV but also radio. They're running at the moment some, is it 5 different TV channels, 5 different radio channels. This one is running one main news channel plus some entertainment channels, 3 or 4 extra channels, but no radio. Now, because the monopoly somehow continued here, we have a lot of, it's quite easy to apply for a radio license. It's more of a technical issue. Is there a license in the area free? So you can do that, and you can start by going on the digital broadcasting, or you can stream. Anybody can open a radio station in that sense. But the old DR still had a real majority. Emma, I was thinking if you could get the IT guy to come in about 15 minutes
Yes.
or so.
Yeah.
20 minutes. Where was I? So, and what is really extraordinary here is that for public service TV, meaning DR and TV2, is that more than 90% of the population watches one of those stations during the week.
90%.
And you have when you, I don't know, in your hotel you've probably gone through, you will have CNN, you will have BBC, you will have Channel 4, and you will have Swedish and whatever. You will have, many households have 20 or even 50 channels to choose from. But still, they choose, 90% of the population choose to see either DR1 or TV2 during the week. So then again, back to your question a bit about who controls. Well, if this was like 2%, I would say that then they're doing a bad job. So the viewers are, to some extent, responsible for part of the control, because if they move with their feet, if they vote with their feet, meaning that they go away from it, then it doesn't. They wouldn't have these figures. And of these, and then the other part is these stations, these public service stations, they have a contract with the Ministry of Culture. They have a 4-year contract saying we should have so much of drama, meaning new drama production. You must have so and so many minutes of news. Not what kind of news. You must have so and so much culture programs. And so there is a very specific contract saying what kind of content should be there. And the Ministry of Culture then checks, are they actually sending so and so many Scandinavian films? Are they sending so much and so much music? Are they producing the amount of news, and so on and so on? But there's nothing in the contract saying it should be at a quality level A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
It's about the general content and not the individual content. So the whole idea is to say, yes, this is funded by public money, but you, as the Minister of Culture or Defense or whatever, cannot take the phone and call me direct and say, I don't like what you're saying. That is what we call the arm's length principle. Arm's length principle. That there is, although there's public money involved, then the government, the parliament, cannot have direct influence.
First of the public money, that is the main source. You are taking 41% from the share market.
Yeah.
So it is the public money. The government providing providing some other money.
Yes.
Public market.
Yes.
All these sources are also from other sources.
Yeah. What it does is we have pay a license fee, and that is about $300 per year. All citizens are paying license fee of $300 per year. And then before it was only if you have a radio set or a television, but now basically everybody is compelled, because if you have a mobile phone, you can watch it. So now, but this you can say, if I'm a millionaire director of a big company, $300 is nothing. And it comes out of my company pocket, not my own. Yes?
Yesterday, two legal advisor of cultural ministry
Yeah.
lectured that they would do the license fee
Yes.
for the public service
Yeah.
broadcasting.
Yeah.
And today will be take the decision.
Yeah, they are changing the system now.
Yes.
They are changing the system now. And also, actually, let me just go back.
You mean the winner of tenders or something?
Let me
So
go
they
back to
announced
this
it.
one, because I should explain a bit more about Radio 24/7, because that's the one which is going to be decided upon today. Because when the politicians were not satisfied with the diversity, they again set this one up, saying that we need a talk radio, and it will get like 15 million US dollars per year to run the station. So it's run by public money directly from the state budget, but it's run by a commercial company.
So it's a mix.
Yeah, you could say that it's a mix. It's because this commercial company has a contract of 5 years to run this at an annual cost of about 15 million US dollar. And so I think this is a construction that you have not seen in any other country. It's very specific. So public money buying a media organization to do this. And now, actually today is the day where there will be a decision who will be the public company to run this radio station.
Yes.
Yeah, this one. And there is another story about that, because the previous government and the previous supporters didn't like this one. They created it, but they didn't like it. Shit, they're too critical about us. And they're too difficult. But of course, we have press freedom, and no, we're not interfering, but we can complain, but we're not interfering, and of course it's public money. So what did they do a year ago, when they were talking state budget? Well, first of all, they were saying, let's cut 25% of the budget of DR over 5 years. That will cause them to slim and be more effective. No, it will cause them to have less money to do quality programs. So that's another thing. And this one, they said, oh, we need the independent radio to continue, but we need more focus on rural Denmark. So we put in the law or in the agreement that headquarters must be at least 70 kilometers away from Copenhagen.
It is near our hotel.
Well, yeah, it's very near your hotel. So basically what they're saying is, oh yes, you can have your radio station, but you must be in the province. They even said that half of the staff would have to live outside Copenhagen. 100 kilometers away or something like that. It was crazy. But it was the government accepted this claim from the ultra right-wing party. Now, what happened during elections then is that this ultra right-wing party dropped to about half. So we have a change in government now, and the new government is trying to not give this special arrangement, but they could actually not change all of it. But what they did is to say that there will be a new frequency on DAB, digital audio broadcasting. So the FM frequency headquarters still must be outside Copenhagen and all of this. So, but this is, and you will meet, I think tomorrow you will meet Leif Lønsmann, who used to be director of radio, yes?
Is there any rules to divide, to get the fund, how much, who will get and how much?
From the license fee?
License fee?
Yeah.
The television station and radio station, that is different from the structures and working from.
This is only for license fee, and they are collecting it from us. But that system is also under change. Because, as I was starting to say before, if I'm a rich person, $300 is nothing. If I'm a student, $300 is a lot. So they're talking about moving it into a part of the tax, because we have a progressive tax. So if you earn a lot of money, you pay more taxes, and if you don't earn any money, you don't pay any taxes at all. So that would make a more fair contribution to the media, to the public service media. But it also somehow puts the hand of the parliament more tightly to the budget. So if the parliament decides everything about the budget, will they control more?
So I want to know how they manage the funding source after provide to those media. And so the government will have another independent auditor to see the financial management, or they have their own.
Yeah. There is a public auditor for all public enterprises called state auditors. So they also go through theirs. What they do is they do small tests here and there, and then sometimes they dive into one organization and go through every little penny. So there is a financial check on it.
So again, the government also control.
Well, the auditors are in principle independent, But if you, but what the auditors can say, have they spent the money on what was in the contract? Or did they all go to Barbados for summer holidays? And I can tell you that they're not going to Barbados. It is a very, they're working on the very tight budgets, I must say. And it's, as a former employee, I worked there for 17 years. I can tell you that budget, once I made a big mistake. I was part of an association of parents in our local kindergarten, and I needed to send a letter to the local government or the municipality. So I wrote it at work, and I put it in a DR envelope. I took an envelope with the DR and then I sent it. Now, somebody in that municipality says, how can anybody use public funds like this, public money, public envelopes? So they traced it all the way through the system. And my boss called me and said, cannot use our envelopes for sending. So they go into, people go into extreme detail about the misuse of funds. So, but today it will be decided who will get the 15 million per year for the next 5 years to run this one. And I guess if they don't get it, probably there is some name things. You cannot just continue calling it the same station with a new operator. Anyway, that is to be shown. Good. Let's get back to the share, saying that out of the 90, that's the coverage. And if you're talking about the entire amount of TV watching in Denmark, TV2 has 42% of the entire, including BBC, including CNN, including all of them, Al Jazeera, whatever. And DR, the old lady has 33%. And that's, I think, I mean, to say that the public service TV is 3/4 of the entire watching. That is, for me, an indication that people trust them, and that they find something that is interesting, and that they get what they want. You still hear, of course, people complaining. If you're talking radio, you see that the old lady DR has actually 75% of total listenership, and you will find, if you have a small radio in your hotel room, you can, and you will find the first 20, 30 stations here in Copenhagen. But still, with all of that competition, DR has 3/4. And in my opinion, that is a sign that they are doing something very, very popular. And the Radio 24/7, that's the one which is very popular, but still it's only 4% of the. So, I have just 3 more slides left, and then we'll see a fun video if the IT guy comes. Are you still awake? I hear no. Okay, I'll go home and sleep. Now this is just to see how the Danish media use has developed over the past couple of years. This is all grown-ups, 15 to 75 years old. This is 2017, this is 2018. But you see, old-fashioned TV is still around 1/3 of the entire media consumption. So, just turning on the TV, and this is radio. No, this is streaming of TV. People watching in the laptops or so if you combine, it's almost half of the media use is TV, either on the traditional platform or on the mobile. Then you have radio. Actually, you see, radio is on the increase. No, it's not. It's 22. It's 21 again. So what is on the increase is this one is growing. That's streaming of TV. That's growing. This is streaming of radio, and the one this is only 3%, but that's written news on social platforms. And then you have games, and then you have social media, and then you have the print media. Look how small print media is compared to the others. Now, if you see, there's not so much difference from 2017 to 2018, but if you see between the entire population and the young ones, this is the only age group from 15 to 29. There you see that they don't watch ordinary TV as much. There's only 11% compared to 33%. So the young ones are only using 1/3 of their time. So what do they do then? Well, they still stream TV. So you can compare these two. So the TV use is still big among the young ones, but they see it on other platforms, right? Again, radio is so much smaller than here, but they still listen to radio. So these are the ones you can compare. What is really, really different here is that social media is twice as big. So we can look at this one and see how will it be in the future. So social media is really coming up. Now, our last slide, the last slide I will show you today is then how do you apply this arm length, and how do you do that? Basically, there is a board of governors which is in charge of DR. This is DR structure. Parliament appoints 6 people. They are not supposed to be members of parliament, but they can be members of political parties. So, but they cannot appoint. The Minister of Culture appoints 4, and the staff appoints 1. Now, the Board of Governors hire the Director General, not the Minister of Culture, not the Parliament, not the staff, but the Board of Governors hire the Director General. And then the Director General, and you remember she's a she,
Boss.
she hires the rest of the directors. And all of these were ladies also, and this one was a man. So, and then of course this is radio director, TV director, I don't remember this, news director, I don't remember this one.
Production.
Yeah, production, yes. Thank you. So, and you see around 3,500 people working there. It's a bit like Tacon. And the annual budget, close to 500 million euro. But that is going to be cut. Now, tomorrow you will meet Leif Lönzmann, who used to be this guy. And he has been in this company for almost 40 years. And then actually he left as part of a reconstruction a year ago. But he used to be here, and so he knows how they are trying from up there to go through these layers to influence, because of course they still try to influence. They try to do it in a very subtle way, and he will explain to you how these phone calls work and how the pressure works. And, so I'm not saying this is an ideal situation. What I'm just saying is that it's working more or less. And I was never up here. I was somewhere around here in the news department. And I tell you, I have never felt political pressure or felt pressure to report a story in a specific way because of political pressures, because I knew there were so many layers on top of me. It is so difficult to come and say, we don't like you. If you are in a newspaper and the editor don't like you, thank you for serving us. Good luck.
It's also happening here. It's also happening here.
Of course. So what I'm saying is that it's easier to get fired in a commercial newspaper than it is to be fired here.
They will not catch you to fire.
I think
They will not
it's,
catch you to fire.
What about the salary, side of salary, working in commercial media and private, the public service?
Actually, journalists are extremely well paid in Denmark. They're much better paid than, for example, the UK. As a starting salary, today you would get
US.
yeah,
US dollars.
20,000 a month.
20,000. Could be lower than 20,000.
let's say, US dollars, you'll get more than 6,000 US dollars
A month.
per month,
1,000
which is a lot.
Yes.
At least.
So who had more public service, journalists or commercial?
Yeah.
compared to like the average payment.
A journalist makes more money than a school teacher or a high school teacher.
What is the average?
Well, that I would say between 6,000 and 8,000.
Not the average.
Yeah. But I haven't been employed for many years, so I'm not.
So that's mean if it's like a journalist got 6,000, that's mean in the average.
Yeah.
Just from starting point, how about for
Yeah.
the senior?
Yes, but I don't know the structure very well. But remember one thing, that out of the 6,000, at least the 2,000 will be paid back as tax.
That's, yeah.
And then you will have to pay your daycare facility for your child and so on. So a lot of it comes back.
In China, journalist is the fourth richest in the country.
In the country.
Yeah.
But then again, they are also very much, you could say, an arm of the government.
Yeah.
So you have to have good arms, and that's why they're paying.
Strong arm.
They're paying to have strong arms and good arms. But yeah. Okay. Does this? But I would like you to, when you see live Lundstrom, the former radio director, I'd like you to question him about also
The pressure.
the pressure and the indirect pressure. What does it mean? For example, the 25% cut decided by the previous government meant that he lost his job after 40 years.
Yes,
This one?
this,
I'll make sure that what I'll do is I'll send to Marie in Sweden. I'll send all the presentations that you saw over there and this one also. So you will have it. She will
It's uploaded. already? Not yet?
I'm hoping that in a minute we can see. Hej,
Hi.
skal du høre, jeg vil gerne spille noget fra internettet. Jeg får ikke lyd på, når jeg gør det umiddelbart. Kan jeg gøre det fra en anden?
Ja, bare
Yeah, have a Wi-Fi code. It's good.
Den her.
You want to come up for another one?
Yeah, I will connect to my laptop. Thank you very much.
No signal, no. Now, this is what when we're talking about shit media. this is yeah, advanced. Let this. Yeah. What it is, it's Fox News in the U.S. talking about how terrible socialism is in Denmark.
Oh.
You plug in?
Stream.